Alright, so we did get the LR Super Baby 2 full info here. It seems like this guy is actually going to be in 2.9's data download, which I do think is quite nice, right? So he's going to be coming out with the... I guess, well, we don't know for sure if he's going to come out with Omega Shenron on the 20th, but we'll see how good he is. I've seen a lot of people say that they think he's okay or he's bad. We'll take a look here and I'll let you guys decide what you guys think about it. I want to hear your thoughts, but I think he's fine for an EZA. I think that he's more or less what I anticipate him to be. So he could be on the 20th, the 20th second, who knows, but we'll get the data download in about half an hour from now. Anyways, let's dive into the details of this Super Baby 2. Keep in mind, we do not know his giant form details, like that'll be in that data download that I just talked about in 30 minutes. Until then, we don't know where it is. I don't know why they don't post it, but here he is. Woo! Yeah, Super Baby 2, right up. And I'm very funny, but anyways, so greatly raises attack and defense for the turn, causes mega colossal damage to the enemy, and lowers attack and defense. So he got 50% defense on his super attack effect for the 18 key. I very much like that. I think that's a good change. Greatly raises defense for the turn, causes colossal damage to enemy, and lowers attack as his 12 key super attack. Now, before that, he did not have any defense raise on his super. So that in general is just a huge change, because this is a 50% multiplicative defense raise that, like, nothing else in his passive is multiplicative on that same like wave, so it's not additive, right? It's just always multiplicative against his entirety of his passive, which is good. Pure 50% buff is really, really nice. So now he gets key 6 and 150% attack and defense. Again, all this key is really good. Key 6, it's a lot of key, man. He used to have key 3 and 100%, so getting that key 6 is really nice. Gets an additional key 6 and then attack and defense plus 100% and a 40% chance to perform a critical hit when there's a pure Saiyan or hybrid Saiyan category enemy. So they combine the two passes right there. If you take a look here, before it used to be just key 3 50% attack against a pure Saiyan enemy, key 3 50% attack when there's a hybrid Saiyan enemy. Now they combined it so that you could be facing either or, get the full passive. They added defense on top of that, and they gave him a 40% chance to crit. I think that's fine. I think that's a little nice addition right there. Now, this is where his passive kind of divides into two separate things that you could potentially get. If you're above 40% HP, what happens is he gets 100% attack and defense and a 40% chance to crit when performing a super attack. So again, that is a multiplicative buff. So let's say you're not facing a pure hybrid Saiyan enemy, which you're not usually going to be facing a pure hybrid Saiyan enemy. I mean, like, there's Broly, and that's really it, right? But against like any other boss in the game, he has the 150% out of turn plus the 100% multiplicative buff plus this extra 50% defense buff. His defense, I think, will be around the, again, that's a normal 500 to 600k range. I mean, probably even higher considering his links like Thirst for Conquest, Metamorphosis, Big Bad Bosses, GT. This guy gets a lot of defense from links, like quite a bit. So I think that we could see his numbers potentially be pretty high once he has this up. But again, that's when you're 40% or above when performing a super attack, which I feel like is going to be mostly what you get for the most part, right? We know that his grade 8 mode you can use when you're under 40% HP or less. I think that this HP will stay the same. Maybe this becomes guaranteed. Who knows, right? Maybe it still stays as a high chance. We'll see how that turns out, right? But if you are under 40% HP, when performing a super attack, he gets 150% defense and a high chance to evade enemy attacks. Now, the only issue with this, again, is because this is when performing a super attack. So even though the defense buff is multiplicative, this high chance to dodge you don't get until after you do a super attack with this unit. Which, it's good for the defense being multiplicative like that, but again, that means that his dodge doesn't activate before he attacks. So like, there's like AoEs that could really hurt him, but for the most part, if he's floating, he's going to be just fine. Right? He's going to be a fine floater if you're under 40%. Gonna have a nice defensive stat plus the 50% chance to dodge I do like. I would say, though, honestly, they should have made this high chance to dodge just unrestricted, and that would have been really good for him. I think that's the only thing I would change. because like he seems good. He's like a nice strong floater on like GT bosses, which is kind of what we need. He's easily like, is it like the second best GT bosses unit? Let's see who's on GT bosses. I mean, I guess I can't say if he's better than like the 17s technically, but I mean, he's probably the second or third best on this team, which is obvious. It's not hard to do that, but that's what this team needs. Like a more solid, at least a bare minimum, more solid units, right? Is what this team really needs, which is good. I like this. I like this a lot. What he's able to work with. I just feel this 40% HP or less condition, you're not gonna see too often. Right? That's the biggest issue. That's why, like, if you get it, he could look nice with the high chance of dodge. But let's say you're on the GT bosses team. If you're under 50%, you're likely gonna like have a good chance to revive with the mega. So that's one thing. I mean, I guess like you could say like, okay, you're under 40%, you still survive the turn. The next turn you have the other omega and you could still revive, right? So like I think it's useful in very certain situations. And what could happen is not uncommon. You could like take some AoE attacks, you know, take a Sin Shenron super in the first slot, right? And then you fall under 40% HP by the time you reach Super Baby 2. And then, oh, now he has his dodge and his extra defense, right? Which is not impossible to consider on GT bosses, like falling under 40% HP mid-turn. I don't think that's like something that you're like, oh, that's not gonna ever happen. I think for sure in GT bosses, right? That's gonna be a thing that you're gonna see. But yeah, I mean, if you're gonna be safe for the most part, especially because this guy like heals with Metamorphosis, right? You may very well not be able to see that extra buff, but honestly, again, speaking about Omega again, this guy definitely helps Omega because he's another GT bosses category ally, giving him that 5% extra damage reduction. GT bosses is like, okay, he's gonna link well with this guy. Like these guys as a rotation is just not gonna really work though. And it's like they want pure Hybrid Saiyan enemies. We need a pure Hybrid Saiyan boss. And you know, I mean, unfortunately, the boss that we're gonna get right now is Omega, apparently, right? I guess we're all assuming it's gonna be Omega, but it's gonna be Omega Shenron because this is the Shadow Dragons event. And guess what we find in the Shadow Dragons event? Haze, Rage, Oceanus, Naturon, Nova, Ice, Sin. It's gonna be like Omega, right? That's pretty obvious, right? So I don't know. That's that's the issue with this baby. And it's like if he had his full Hybrid Saiyan or Pure Saiyan buffs, you know, that's a really huge change. 40% extra crit, attack and defense 100% with his multiplicative stats would be huge. And then even just 6 ki, which means that he's always sitting at 24 ki, right? If he has that pure Hybrid Saiyan buff. But it's like to me, it feels like they designed that 100% buff he's getting right there based off the fact that you're not going to be seeing Pure Saiyan or Hybrid Saiyan. So they're like, okay, well, we're just going to make it a really strong buff and slightly easier to get simply because you're not going to be facing these Pure or Hybrid Saiyan enemies. And yeah, that's just... that's all I really have to say about this Super Baby 2. We really gotta hope that this guy's gonna be useful in game. I think by the numbers he should be fine, but it's like we kind of, even then, we still want more powerful GT bosses units. I mean, I guess to end things, we know that we're getting a Dokkan Fest in about a week. I talked about this in earlier's video. Like, well, I guess it's in 2 weeks still, but I think that or I guess it might be here actually, the Dokkan Fest. I think that it might be a baby still because Super 17 returns in that banner. Baby store events, you know, haven't returned yet, right? But like if we get like a super, let's say a Super Baby 1 Dokkan Fest or something, and then we have this guy, and then maybe the EZA the Int one as well, and he could be like an interesting option in the team. That could really help the team. Maybe they update GT bosses, and then we get like a Bulma support unit that fits the team, like a possessed Bulma. She's like a mega GT bosses support. I think that could be really good. There's a lot of avenues they could take to make the GT bosses a good category, and I think this is a fine start, right? For an EZA, I'm not necessarily expecting like, oh yeah, top 10 in the game. I definitely would say he's not top 10 in the game though. But he will be a good option for now. Hopefully the team gets more buffs in the future. Thanks for watching. Let me know what y'all think, and I'll catch you next time. Peace out.